Guys, the Boston Red Sox have been making moves. I've been getting a feeling that I haven't been feeling in well over a year. Excitement to see the new look Boston Red Sox. Guys, the purpose of today's video is talking about the 2025 projected Boston Red Sox. Now, while there's still plenty of offseason, there's still plenty of moves that still need to be made. There's still plenty of things. This isn't the final roster, I don't believe, by any stretch of the word. I do believe the Red Sox are far from done. Seeing my team finally start making some moves again, especially with the idea of last year. They made their intentions clear, and while they still haven't hit on everything they said they were going to accomplish, they have taken huge strides in the right direction. So the 2025 team is going to look far better than the 2024 team, just how they look on paper. I've been sick over the past week, so I appreciate you guys being patient with me. If I do sound off, that is still because I'm still kind of lingering with whatever I had. 2025 Red Sox. What did the Boston Red Sox look to accomplish throughout this offseason? They were looking to get starting pitching, and they were looking for help on the offensive side, more specifically a right-handed power bat. While it still remains to be seen what the Red Sox are looking at in terms of the offense, I'll get to it in a little bit, but talking about the pitching side of things, the big move that the Red Sox made on the pitching side was trading for Garrett Crochet. Garrett Crochet, over the course of last year, he cemented himself as one of the top pitchers in baseball. My only concern really is that if is he going to be able to keep up his production. Obviously, last year was his first full season as a starter. He was electric out of the bullpen. Dude had just nasty stuff, but proceeds now to go into a full-time starter and becomes the ace of the staff for the White Sox, even though the White Sox were one of the worst teams in MLB history. Bringing in one of the top pitchers in the game, who is still under team control for the next 2 years, and he's only going into his age 26 season. Now, I do think the Red Sox don't feel like they need a rush about getting an extension done with Crochet. I think you shouldn't wait too long. You get a full season of this guy in terms of the wins and losses, in terms of the ERA and all that stuff. His full stat line is that of a Cy Young candidate. Price tag is only going to get higher and higher. John Henry does not like signing pitchers who are pushing 30 or are already in their 30s at their point in their playing careers. The Red Sox signed David Price when he was 29 years old. I thoroughly enjoyed with David Price being on the Red Sox and helping them win a World Series. The contract that he signed going into the 2016 season with the Red Sox was ultimately a reason why the Red Sox decided to trade Mookie Betts to get out of the David Price money. That's the other half of the Mookie Betts trade people forget sometimes. And I'm not going to go into a whole tangent about Mookie Betts and that whole Red Sox trade. That's a topic for a different day. Last two times the Red Sox gave a big money contract to a pitcher going into his 30s was David Price and Chris Sale. And obviously, we all know how Chris Sale worked out. He helped them win a World Series. He got the final out of the World Series, but then 2019, he had a bad year. He had Tommy John surgery in 2020. Came back for a little bit in 2021. Got hurt in 2022. And he started kind of getting back to where he wanted to be in 2023. Obviously, he gets out of the Red Sox situation and is right back to being one of the best left-handed pitchers in all of baseball. At this point now, I don't think the Red Sox are really going after somebody like a Corbin Burnes, even a Luis Castillo at this point, even though they were looking at him through trade. Mainly with Corbin Burnes, they don't want to give him 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 years because they're afraid that the same thing that happened with David Price or the same thing that happened with Chris Sale is that money's going to kind of blow back up in their face. Shea, he is years younger. He's on team control. I guess they may want to try to evaluate to see what kind of player they have, even though I truly believe he's going to come out this season and be one of the best pitchers just like he was last year. And it seems like through reports, Garrett Crochet wants to get an extension done really wherever team he was going to get traded to. And I'm really excited to see what he's going to be able to do this upcoming season. Bringing in Walker Buehler on a 1-year deal, I'm really intrigued by that. I think the Red Sox are pretty set when it comes to bringing in starting pitchers because at this point, bringing in Walker Buehler and bringing in Garrett Crochet, you have Crochet, you have Tanner Howell, along with Brian Bayo, Cutter Crawford, and then you have Walker Buehler. And depending how Lucas Giolito, you have Richard Fitz, you have starting pitching depth. They signed Patrick Sandoval, who's going to be out until the second half of this year. And all this starting pitching depth that they're bringing in is real good for somebody like Garrett Whitlock getting sent back to the bullpen where I feel like he should have been for the last 2 years. Starting rotation for the 2025 Red Sox looks a lot more exciting compared to the 2024 Red Sox. Obviously, for the bullpen, I already mentioned Aroldis Chapman, and I feel like bringing in Chapman is going to be able to take a lot of the load off of Brendan Bernardino, who Alex Cora was going to in high leverage situations. Seems like every other game or every single game, he was one of the more reliable guys he went to, but he was kind of the only left-handed option that he probably felt comfortable with. And throughout the season, it felt like he was going to deal with a whole lot of burnout, and I think he did going over the course of the season. Bringing Chapman in allows you to use Bernardino earlier or use him in split time on those high leverage situations. Obviously, you lose two of your big right-handed arms out of that bullpen in Chris Martin and Kenley Jansen, who I feel both of them may sign elsewhere, but I would really hope that Chris Martin would be able to get a reunion done. Regardless of not, you're looking at some of the other arms in that Red Sox bullpen to really kind of step up or bounce back. And speaking of somebody who I'm hoping bounces back is Liam Hendriks. He's dealing with injuries and, of course, his cancer diagnosis. But I think Liam Hendriks can get back. He's entering his age 36 season, but it seems like for him, this guy has gotten older. He was only gotten better. He was one of the best closers when he was with the White Sox. He was one of the best closers in the game when he was with the Athletics. Signing with the Red Sox, he was a rehabilitation project, as a couple of these guys in this pitching staff are. It's like next year, he has the opportunity to really take on that closer role, obviously with Kenley Jansen most likely leaving town. But on paper, on the pitching side overall for the Red Sox, I really like what I see. Now for the fun part for me, for the offensive side. How are you going to go about getting that right-handed bat? Obviously, you know you're going to get out of Rafi Devers. He had another great campaign, hit another 28 home runs. Jarren Duran, he was electric. He's one of the best outfielders in baseball, and he proved it last year, and I can only hope he's going to carry it forward. We're hoping that guys that missed a lot of time due to injury, like Tristan Casas and Trevor Story, really bounce back. Somebody like Tristan Casas can step through and become one of the best first basemen in the game. I feel like just on his potential alone, he has the ability to be a top 10 first baseman in all of baseball. You had a lot of surprise stories throughout this entire Red Sox team. Jarren Duran, who had a gigantic breakout. You had Ceddanne Rafaela playing every day. Obviously, somebody like Ceddanne Rafaela is not going to do a lot of things that you're really happy with in terms of at the plate. Like, he swung and missed a lot. He has really high chase rates. Loves high velocity fastballs. He's one of those young guys who sees high velo and will have no problem biting. He's taken some really bad hacks, but also like overall in terms of counting numbers, he was really good. I feel like something people overlooked is that he was really good with runners in scoring position. Batting really out of the 9 spot the entire year and getting nearly 80 RBIs. I think that's nothing to scoff at. Like, he has a good basis and a good blueprint to become a great hitter, but I think it's just more of the idea of really dialing it in when it comes to his approach at the plate, really tapping into that potential that a lot of people have been touting him for. He's a terrific athlete, and he was one of the joys to watch when it came to watching the Red Sox play defense, whether he was playing short, even though I would much rather have him in center field and just let him, run for days. You look at the open market and you see guys like Teoscar Hernandez, guys like Alex Bregman, and then on the trade market, people like Nolan Arenado. The Red Sox, I feel, need to get 1 or 2 of those guys. Obviously, the big thing when it came to the Red Sox being interested in somebody like Juan Soto, they have way too many lefties. Really think about it, all their big boppers in terms of bats are batting from the left side. Duran, Devers, Casas. When you think about it, Ceddanne Rafaela was right now probably your best right-handed bat, unless Trevor Story has himself a bounce-back season or a fully healthy season, I hope. So it's not a matter of if the Red Sox can land a big-time right-handed bat. It's more when and who. Many different ways that the Red Sox can attack this. Like, let's start with Teoscar Hernandez, for example. Regardless of whether you sign in a right-handed bat, you're going to have to trade a couple of pieces in order to compensate for bringing in such a player. So for someone like Teoscar Hernandez, bring in Teoscar Hernandez, you have him either play right field or DH. Then at that point, it constitutes the idea of having to trade either Willie Abreu or Masataka Yoshida. And the thing with Masataka Yoshida, I don't think a lot of teams are going to be looking at someone who's purely a DH and a slap ball hitter. Willie Abreu is more enticing because, of course, you have Roman Anthony in the pipeline, who will most definitely be commanding an outfield spot when he does get called up, whether it's next year or in 2026. But regardless, if you bring in somebody like Teoscar Hernandez, when he was with the Blue Jays, he did play right field. And obviously, I feel like he's a good enough athlete to compensate for the fact that he's not a great defender out there. This was the same argument a lot of people were using when it came to the Red Sox looking at Juan Soto and potentially having him play left field. The Red Sox won 2 World Series championships with Manny Ramirez playing left field. Manny Ramirez was god-awful in the outfield. Someone like Teoscar Hernandez, who put up a fantastic bounce-back season compared to when he was with the Mariners back in 2023, in his first and potentially only season with the Dodgers. Putting him in Fenway Park, he would absolutely mash. I think that's exactly what the Red Sox need, especially around Rafael Devers. You have great players like Casas and Duran, but I think you need that right-handed bat. Of course, balance out the lineup, but more another scary threat in that lineup that pitchers and teams will have no choice but to respect from that right side. And it was an issue last year. A dominant left-handed pitcher would carve up this Red Sox team. Somebody like Bregman is kind of a real intriguing idea. The thing I'm worried about, you're going to be signing a 31-year-old even though he's still a terrific player, I feel like that second half of the contract, are you able to deal with how he regresses over the course of the next few years? Well, obviously Fenway is such a hitter-friendly ballpark, especially for a right-handed hitter using that green monster. Signed Trevor Story, and he's yet to have a fully healthy season for the Red Sox. And you have somebody like Alex Bregman commanding around a 7-8 year deal worth over $200 million, and I don't know if that's something the Red Sox are willing to do. And also, it's the idea of what are you going to do about Rafael Devers? Are you going to, if you were to sign Bregman, would you have him play third or would you have him play second? It seems like that was something that the Red Sox have really been interested in. If you ask me, I would want Rafi to play. I would want Rafi to strictly worrying about hitting. Him to truly focus on hitting, allow him to stay a lot healthier over the course of the year, and adding real insurance to that huge investment the Red Sox made when it came to signing Rafi long term. But also there's been reports that Rafi's representation has said like they have no plans on moving him off a third. And some players in the league, like Byron Buxton, for example, just did not enjoy DHing. But to be fair, Byron Buxton is a far better defender than Rafael Devers, and Rafael Devers is one of, if not the worst defensive third baseman in the game. But on the offensive side, it really kind of covers up his defensive liability because he's so good at the plate. I feel like the Red Sox would be able to find a way to move off of Masataka Yoshida so Rafi can worry about DHing full time and have him, play third base from time to time if he really wants to. I don't believe it's smart to kind of hold the team hostage because you want to play your position. No, moving off to a different position where it could potentially be better for you and be better for the team. I just think the Red Sox will be in a far better position if they can move Rafi off third. You sign Teoscar, you sign Bregman, like those guys are going to mash, that's no doubt. I feel like somebody like Nolan Arenado could really benefit from playing in Fenway Park for over half the season compared to a very pitcher-friendly ballpark out there for the Cardinals. Obviously, another potential signing could be Anthony Santander. And for someone like Anthony Santander, one of the best switch hitters in the game, and he hit 44 home runs last year. But I think somebody like Anthony Santander could really suit this Red Sox team very well. I don't think he's going to cost nearly as much as a Teoscar or a Bregman, even with the career year he had last year. And I do think that's someone the Red Sox would definitely be interested in bringing in, especially with that switch hitting versatility and the fact that he has 40 home run potential. That's just something you kind of can't pass up. I'm really excited to see what else the Red Sox have up their sleeve. Are they going to go out and get one of these big-time bats on the free agent market? The one player I would really love is Teoscar Hernandez. But on the pitching side, I think the Red Sox don't really need to do much anymore at this point. I think the more important thing is to bring in an impact bat for the offense and get some more protection around Rafael Devers and potentially look at options for him to move off of third base. Red Sox fans, you guys tell me, how do you feel about the team on paper right now? But I do think they're going to be in the same place they were last year, competing for a wild card spot. And I do think right now, like, this team has the potential to be a wild card team. If all bodes well and you get bounce back seasons from some of these guys. If you guys did enjoy the video, any and all support would always be appreciated. Subscribe to Vendetta Media. Check us out on vendettasportsmedia.com to keep up to date with all your favorite sports. But with all that being said, guys, that's going to do it for me, and I'll see you guys next time. Merry Christmas.